Hey, today we'll be talking about episodes 64 through 66 of RuYi's Royal Love. Motherfucking god Yanwan is pregnant. This is literally 100% your fault, RuYi. With a bun in the oven, it's finally time to cash in on all that money she spent bribing midwife Tian. She tells her in no uncertain words that the Empress cannot be allowed to deliver safely. She's still providing medicine for Tian's daughter, and Tian is in way too deep to back out now. You thought Yanwan was dangerous before? That was nothing compared to the new "I'm doing this for my baby" Yanwan. Not stopping there, she sets her sights on Hailan's no-good nephew Jia Qi. Jia Qi was introduced briefly in episode 59. His parents are dead, so Hailan has to take care of him. She gives him money when she can, but he's just been gambling it away, so finally Hailan has decided to put her foot down.
你去打发他走吧。
Yanwan spots him and tells her maid to give Jia Qi a bit of money from her. She really knows how to pick the right people, but I have to wonder, what are her monthly expenses like? Tian's daughter's medicine alone must cost an arm and a leg, right? So now, with no choice but to do what she's told, midwife Tian goes to work and tells RuYi that her baby is breeched, facing the wrong way with its feet pointed downwards instead of its head. She says she will need to massage her stomach daily to get it to turn. I get that she's a trusted official and Dr. Zhang isn't allowed to touch RuYi to confirm, but I am so pissed that there is no second opinion. Pregnancies are such an important thing in this palace, and yet they couldn't afford at least 2 knowledgeable midwives. You'd think they'd be scouring the country and hiring all of the standout medical professionals like annually, but apparently not.
在宫里会抹擦肚子、转正胎位的，也只有田姥姥了。
So midwife Tian massages her twice a day. It doesn't work, obviously. RuYi goes into labor with the baby still not ready to come out. It's not like they can have a C-section, so RuYi is just suffering through it. After hours and hours, the baby is stillborn. This whole pregnancy, and up until 5 minutes ago, the astronomer was saying that this baby was the second coming of Jesus.
皇后娘娘这一胎，必定是上承天心、下安宗诏的祥瑞之胎。
As soon as we learn that the baby is dead, the astronomer flips his story and starts spouting nonsense about fate and purple stars, and the point is it's RuYi's fault. Sir, if this doesn't wake you up to the fact that astrology doesn't work, I just don't know what to say to you. The emperor doesn't stick around to see RuYi wake up, leaving Hailan to break the bad news.
姐姐，姐姐。
RuYi has the midwives investigated since something seems fishy. We know midwife Tian is guilty, but this is so messed up. Children die during childbirth all the time. No one's necessarily at fault, and yet RuYi just decides to torture them? What about the other innocent midwives? Under torture, midwife Tian admits that she did mess up her delivery, but does not finger Yanwan. She says she was bitter about the time RuYi halved the rewards for the delivery of her daughter. Of course, this isn't really the reason, but Yanwan pretty much holds her daughter's life in her hands. Tian dies without knowing that the medicine Yanwan has been providing for her daughter isn't even curing her, it's just hiding the symptoms. Yanwan is cold. Wrapping up the final loose end, Yanwan has the astronomer killed. Oh, well, not the final loose end, as Tian's daughter is still alive, for now. The emperor finally goes to see RuYi. Can you believe this useless sack of pudding actually says that they should stop investigating because she was at fault too for her bad fate?
皇上的意思是，皇上觉得臣妾就如青天剑所言，克死了自己的孩子。
I'm starting to feel like I've said this 30 times before already, but this is the end of the relationship. He could be the world's best husband for the next 40 years and it wouldn't make up for this. To say this to someone just after they've had a miscarriage, nothing, and I mean nothing, could ever repair the relationship after this. RuYi asks Yunche to investigate the matter with midwife Tian a bit more. She knows that it could affect his future since the emperor has said to drop it, but she can't let it go.
微臣一定竭尽全力为娘娘办妥。
They love each other so much, and it's so sad to watch compared to the way her actual husband treats her.
多谢你了，李真。
娘娘客气了。
My heart. RuYi, of course, doesn't want to see the emperor after that, and they remain estranged for a few months, until the empress dowager calls her in to see her. And you guessed it, she wants her to forgive him.
能不能先迈出这一步，去看看皇帝呀？
This is like the sixth time the emperor has done something unforgivable and she's been forced to forgive him for the greater good or whatever. I hate this. Yuncha starts the investigation and buckle up because it gets a bit complicated. He tracks down midwife Tian's son. He says his mom gave him a lot of money before she died, but he hasn't dared to use it. He thinks his mom was working for Hailan and that this is blood money for whatever Hailan had her doing. That was planned by Yanwan ahead of time. She told Tian to tell anyone who asked that she was working for Hailan. To make the story more believable, the money came directly from Hailan's no-good nephew Jia Qi. It's kind of brilliant. Instead of trying to hide the evidence, blame someone else and let them take the fall. Yanwan's mistake, though, was choosing Hailan for this. They're kind of teasing at it, but nah, there's no evidence in the world strong enough to make RuYi and Hailan suspect each other. Unfortunately, Tian's son is killed soon after, and the evidence points to Hailan's nephew as the killer, trying to get rid of evidence. The emperor finds out and orders Hailan in for questioning.
有话要问你。
有话就问，何必这么大阵仗？
Can we talk about how far Hailan has come? I can barely even remember the scared little mouse she used to be. She's brought to the torture bureau where she sees her nephew beaten half to death, claiming everything he did was under Hailan's direction. Jinzhong tries to get Hailan to confess, but she doesn't even blink.
本宫既慎行司，就是为了要洗清冤屈，没什么好招认的。
Beauty, grace, elegance. The emperor goes to see RuYi. RuYi makes it clear that she trusts Hailan completely, but of course it's not like the emperor knows her that well. With all the scheming he's seen, I think it's fair and makes total sense that he would suspect Hailan no matter how good she's seemed over the last 20 plus years. The emperor clearly wants to move on and make up and suggests that he spend the night, but RuYi is not backing down this time and suggests he goes to another concubine's palace. I'll be honest here, if I were rewatching this drama for fun, this is the point where I would stop. I like a sad drama, but sometimes you're just not in the mood to sit and have your gut punched for several hours at a time, you know? And that's what RuYi and the emperor's relationship feels like right now. I'm just on the couch, sad and unhappy, getting punched in the gut. And I look exactly like this every time the emperor so much as speaks, so much as breathes in RuYi's direction. And I know it only gets worse from here. You know what got me through this part? This.
跟福姑姑玩去。
That is the cutest squeal I have ever heard in my life. And now for a look at the book. Midwife Tian was indeed bribed by Yanwan to mess with RuYi's pregnancy, but small change here. Instead of the daily massaging, what she actually did was wait until the baby was born, clamp her hand over his mouth, and wrap the cord around his neck to choke him to death before anyone was the wiser. They only find out because Yuncha helps RuYi check the body and finds the bruises from Tian's fingers, which only showed up days later. I don't know which one is more realistic because I've never delivered a baby, but the novel one is definitely more horrific. What was more realistic is the reason for the emperor and RuYi's falling out. It wasn't really the astrology. After Tian confesses and the emperor goes to RuYi, he says, Tian's death is certainly not worth pitying, but at the heart of the matter, is this completely unrelated to you? You are the master of the 6 palaces. However you decide to handle the finances is up to you. But as for Yongjing's death, if you had been a bit more generous, would things have come to this? With a voice hoarse enough to tear through satin, she asked in disbelief, Are you blaming me? And there it is. In my opinion, this is so much better than the astrology thing. RuYi has been trying so hard to live up to the previous empress. She can never seem to do anything right. When she halved the rewards, there was flooding all over the country and she was trying to save money for the people who needed it. Not to mention, again, this is right after her miscarriage. So you get the exact same emotional payoff, but without the emperor being so stupid as to believe this flip-flopping charlatan. The emperor continues to say, Of course, the astrologer's words were nonsense. But as a mother, for something like this to happen because of your actions, surely you feel some guilt, right? Even I can't convince myself that you're completely innocent in this. He looked up at the sky and sighed. Yongjing, I've been looking forward to you for so long. You were supposed to be even more brilliant than Yongqi. And then he walks out, leaving RuYi brokenhearted and devastated. Over the next few months, she and Yuncha grow even closer, and again, just to be clear, I'm not injecting my own feelings into this. They are objectively romantically attracted to each other. Here are a few quotes that I've liked so far. Yuncha says to RuYi, Walking where you've walked, reading the poems you love, looking at the plum blossoms that you like so much, it makes me feel like the distance between us isn't quite so large. And this scene when she and Yuncha are alone together, The rational side of her brain reminded her of the cruel consequences that could come from these warm feelings. She saw Ling Yunche's ears slowly turn red, and then caught a glimpse of Hailan, who had come in at some point, standing behind the curtain with her hands hidden in her sleeves. A sense of foreboding hit her like a splash of cold water on her burning hot forehead, seeping into her brain. Her status was a woman of the Qing Empire. That would never change, not even in death. So Hailan is unimpressed and sends Yunche off with a not-so-subtle reminder to take care of his wife. Because this is written in third person, we know that he's struggling to hide his sadness as he walks out. Then she and RuYi finally address the Yunche-shaped elephant in the room. You can read the whole conversation in the comments, but RuYi sees that Hailan has something on her mind and asks her to speak up. Hailan broaches the subject of Yunche's lingering eyes, and RuYi admits that she knows, but with some things it's better to pretend not to see them. The conversation moves to the Emperor and whether or not RuYi is still in love with him, and we get my favorite Hailan line ever. This is after Hailan recites a poem about a butterfly so big it could blow people away. RuYi's smile was as thin as a wisp of wind. Do you mean to say that the man we love is simply a big butterfly that never tires among the flowers? Hailan's smile disappeared in a flash, like the disappearance of the first snow. The man you love, not we. Her voice was as sharp as a thin blade, cutting with impenetrable coldness. I'm simply the Emperor's consort. We've slept together for several years and we have a son. Nothing more. Oh, Hailan does not mince words. Till next time, thanks for watching.